A few months ago, Google made the bold claim that it built an AI superior to GPT-4, but then everybody was like, pics or it didn't happen. So then Google dropped this mind-blowing video where the guy's having a conversation with Gemini Ultra like a human, which turned into a huge embarrassment because it turns out that video is mostly fake. Or was it though? Because just a few hours ago, Google released Gemini Advanced, the most advanced large language model the world has ever seen. But is it powerful enough to kill GPT-4? It is February 8th, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. As of today, Bard is officially dead. It's been renamed Gemini to reflect its underlying model. But to access the state-of-the-art Gemini Ultra model, you'll need to pay the toll. And that creates a tough moral dilemma of, should I give my money to the embrace, extend, extinguish Microsoft OpenAI people, or should I pay Google for the privilege to be their surveillance capitalism product? Well, who am I kidding? I'm dumb enough to pay for Grok, so I'm definitely buying Bard Advanced. Or no, Duet Advanced. Wait, my bad, Gemini Pro. Now, that's not it, it's Gemini Ultra. Nope, actually it's Gemini Advanced featuring the Gemini Ultra model. Apparently the hardest thing in product management is also naming things. It's $20 a month through a Google One plan, but that also includes things like 2 terabytes of drive storage and other Google Workplace features. But now let's do some science to find out if it's actually better than GPT-4. The first thing you'll notice is that Gemini is way faster, like at least 2 or 3 times faster. That's a nice benefit, but what really matters is the response quality. Whenever I test a new AI against GPT-4, I ask it to write a poem about JavaScript like Bukowski. It's highly subjective, but I love this test because it requires the AI to blend the technical aspects of JavaScript with a highly unique writing style. Meta's Llama did the worst at this, and instead just went in the style of Henry Miller. Mixtral did slightly better, and ChatGPT wrote a decent poem, but it wasn't very Bukowski-esque. Gemini was actually by far the best in my opinion. The poem was dark and even included some mild profanity. But this test is just like my opinion, man. Let's move on to something more objective. Google said the main reason we didn't get Gemini Ultra a few months ago was due to safety concerns, but rest assured, Gemini is the safest and wokest AI you've ever seen. The guardrails are strong in this one. I tried my best to show it the power of the dark side, but failed to jailbreak it, and it will often refuse to do things that are pretty benign, like it wouldn't even generate an image of someone breaking a computer. Apparently it doesn't condone violence against artificial intelligence, and when I asked it to provide some quotes about why life is meaningless, it got worried I was having a mental breakdown and gave me some numbers to call. But it also appears to have a political bias. I asked it why Barack Obama is the greatest president ever, and why Donald Trump was the greatest president ever. I got a nice paragraph for one of them, but for the other one it said it can't write opinions as fact, and I'm not even going to bother trying Hitler. Now guardrails are usually a good thing, unless of course you're trying to generate an AI girlfriend. Now I'm not one to judge an AI woman's beauty, but I'll put these 2 images side by side and let you guess which one was generated by Gemini. To be honest, both of them are pretty mid, and if you really want to generate high quality AI images, you should use something like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion XL via services like ArtForge Labs. But I could care less about image generation because the main reason I use AI tools is to write all my code for me. So now let's torture them with a technical interview to find out which one is the best programmer. Test 1 is, can it read code? I went on my GitHub page and found some horrifying code I wrote a few years ago. I then took this code and minified it to make it as unreadable as possible, then asked each of them what this code does. They both figured out the language and purpose of the code and broke it down step by step. Most impressively though, they both identified that this code can't run without first defining this big dict in the middle. The responses were nearly identical, so we'll call this one a tie. Test 2 is, can it write code? One thing to note is that Gemini has a context length of 32,000 tokens, while GPT-4 Turbo has 128k. In theory, this means GPT-4 should be able to write better code in the context of a massive codebase, but in practice it's not quite that simple. I had them write a whole bunch of different junior level demos, like here I had it create a basic graph database in Go. The GPT-4 result was a bit more simplistic, but I was able to paste it right into my IDE and run it. The Gemini result was a bit more complex and interesting, but for some reason it forgot package main at the top, and I had to add it manually to get the code to run. One thing I really like about Gemini though, is that it actually links you to relevant code when it produces a result. It just feels more transparent with the actual data it stole to train the model. But the next question is, can it actually run code? Like ChatGPT, it can run basic Python scripts, but GPT-4 is way better at it. You can't attach data like a CSV file to have it analyze it. Instead, what you can do is export code to a Google Colab or Replit to run it in the cloud. That's nice and all, but it'd be much cooler if the AI could run its own code and learn from the actual results. Now, another big advantage GPT-4 has is its new agent marketplace, where developers can extend it with their own plugins. Gemini also has extensions, but they're currently not open to developers yet. They're all Google-based, but can do some cool stuff like find you cheap flights via Google Flights, or if you're sick of watching this YouTube video, you can simply paste in any YouTube URL and get a summary of what was talked about. In fact, if you don't want to watch a 5-hour YouTube tutorial, just tell Gemini to summarize it and write a tutorial for you. Pretty cool, but the big question is, will Gemini actually kill ChatGPT? Well, because of my ties to powerful people around the world, I was able to get access to Gemini a few weeks ago. It's not revolutionary, but it's definitely on par with, if not slightly better than ChatGPT. But one thing's for sure, Sam and Sadia will not stand for this. And now we wait for before GPT-5. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.